Colleen Swain. Colleen Swain has spent the past 22 years working on downtown projects, historic facilities, and now her dream job, yes, it has to be her dream job, is for the city of San Antonio. She is the city's first World Heritage Office Director and first UNESCO Creative City of Gastronomy focal point. She is the point. She has always embraced her inner free-spirited explorer and feels extremely lucky that she gets to share her love for San Antonio with the whole world. Her inspiration comes from the many strong women in her life, her daughter, and her mom gang. And I feel like I need to make trap noises after I say mom gang, beep, beep, yeet. All right. So welcome to the stage, Miss Colleen Swain, the director.
Good evening, and welcome to Mission Marquee. It's formerly the Mission Drive-In, if you haven't figured that out yet. And it's also the site of the agricultural lands of Mission San Jose, which is just off in the distance there. It was a drive-in in 1948, and then after about a half a century of operation, in 2000, it closed. It was the last drive-in theater in San Antonio to go dark. It briefly reopened for a short period, but then the community came to the city and asked us to purchase this 26-acre site. And the Mission Library opened in 2011. We opened this facility in 2014. We've got a YMCA, the Harvey Najum YMCA, that opened in 2017. And soon we'll be opening a new World Heritage Center in 2024. We're very excited about that. That's what all that construction mess is out in the front. That's the World Heritage Center being built. And then in 2025, we're going to add an aquatic facility. The City of San Antonio's World Heritage Office, which I'm the director, runs this facility. But it wouldn't happen without a person named Blanche Mendoza. I know she's running around. Blanche, where are you? She manages this facility, Spanish Governor's Palace, and the World Heritage Festival. Our office, as they mentioned, oversees the UNESCO Creative City of Gastronomy designation and the World Heritage Work Plan. So we're very happy to have this event here this evening, and I get to present tonight. And that's one of the most nerve-wracking things I've ever done in my entire life. They put together such a stellar lineup of people, and I kind of feel like the opening act in a Mrs. Maisel comedy series. So, and don't worry, it's only going to get better after me. So I think I can start, and okay. When I tell someone that I'm the director of the World Heritage Office, they often ask, what is that? And after a brief explanation, then the next question is, how'd you get that job? I really wish I could tell you that it was my lifelong dream to be the city's first World Heritage Office director, but I can't. I grew up around here. We rode big wheels, played street ball, and rode our banana seat bikes with the streamers on the handles along the river before there was a Mission Reach. This was our little neighborhood gang, and I want to thank Brian Jerzombach for taking this picture and sending it to me. Brought back a lot of memories. This lovely young lady is my grandmother, Bertha, but all her bowling shirts said Birdie. And every Friday we hopped on a Via bus just in front of the Pizza Hut there, and we went downtown where we walked along the river. We went to Travis Park, Brown Bag Days, and we watched the Parks and Rec showmobile and went to the Central Library. My grandparents bought the first and last house they owned in the Raven Hill neighborhood. Both my parents worked, so I spent a lot of time at that house, and it was and still is an ideal location, just across from Mission San Jose. We did not have a playground nearby, so my grandmother would take us in our stroller across to Mission San Jose and tell us to run around the compound. I remember peacocks and climbing on the walls. Please don't do that. And my National Park Service will get you. My grandmother did the same with my daughter, but no peacocks and no climbing walls. Easter just passed, and one of the events that I really wish they'd bring back is the Easter egg hunt. After Mass, they would line us up, and we would try and run as fast as we could to find as many eggs as we could. And it was kind of a rite of passage that first year when you got your first egg. I left San Antonio to go to college. This is me leaving. I said I was never coming back, but eventually I missed free tea refills, free chips and salsa, Big Red, tacos, breakfast tacos. I worked in retail and I opened stores all over the US. I went to the Witty and then the city. And at the city, I got to do a lot of cool things. I got to work on downtown projects like the Hemisphere Park Area Master Plan, and I got to work on the 40th anniversary. I was lucky enough to work with many of these people on this stage who gave great advice to me along the way. We had a new downtown operations department, and I got to work on La Villita, Market Square, Spanish Governor's Palace, the River Rock, and then some really glamorous projects like trash, poop, mud, and gum. This is called downtown sanitation. And this is my Riverwalk glamour shot. Through a roundabout route, I ended up in what was called the Center City Development and Operations Department. And it's the one department that I worked in that still exists to this day. I got to expose to placemaking, and I worked with Project for Public Spaces and Better Block. And the one person who always told me what I didn't want to hear, but what I needed to know. I learned a lot about working with the community and partners on often what seemed like impossible tasks, building consensus and finding a way forward. Sometimes it was successful, sometimes it failed, and sometimes the work got built upon later. One day in July, when it was announced that the San Antonio missions were a World Heritage Site, I called up my mom gang. And I said, wouldn't it be fun to ride our cruisers to all 5 missions? 3 of the 4 showed up. No water, no snacks, or a clue as to what they were in for. I made them ride down to all the 5 missions and back up to the Alamo. This is in July. I've included a picture of the ROSPA truck because it saved my life. Sometimes you need a little good luck and good timing. I applied for the World Heritage Director job because someone said they thought I'd be a good fit. I, at that time, was thinking about leaving San Antonio, but it turned out to be the best job that I never dreamed of. So thank you to that person who encouraged me. If you would have told me when I was riding my bike back in the Ravenhill neighborhood that I would still be riding my bike to the river and all the missions, I would not have believed you, nor would I have believed the places that I would go. Coming up, this is one of our ambassador chefs at the San Antonio Lighthouse for the Blind. It's just up the road from here. And we get to work with our talented culinary industry in our community on projects that promote culinary heritage, sustainability, and with people working on food insecurity. This is because a group of chefs approached the city about applying to become a UNESCO Creative City of Gastronomy. Gastronomy is food and culture, and where you're sitting tonight is where it all started. So it's a natural fit with World Heritage. Both designations are being leveraged as catalysts for social economic change, sharing and preserving our history, and exchanging best practices with professionals all over the world. And I included a lot of these photos because they're joyful moments of accomplishment. And while there are plenty of challenges in my job, I am surrounded every day by people passionate about the work. It took the community, our partners, and lots of city departments to achieve these designations. And it will take all of us to achieve all the goals that we have set forth. So yes, I go back to that text. It's a real text that I got. It is good to be the World Heritage Director, but it has nothing to do with the words world or director. And I hope this little girl at our Tour de las Misiones event gets to find a path, like me, that follows her passions. because it will lead her to things she never imagined. Thank you.
Yeah, don't go away. I'm coming to interview you. Come back into the spotlight. I know you're not one to, you're like, I'm behind the scenes. I'm the director. I tell people where to go into the spotlight, but you're here in the hot seat in a place that's so familiar to you. And you're like, I'm nervous but it's crazy. So this is like your home away from home being here in this space. And I wanted to ask you, I'm so glad that one of your last pictures, or the last picture, was that young lady and you were talking about her future and her path. If you had to choose something that you want people, say a family was visiting, or maybe a family even that is planted here in San Antonio, what would you want the next generation to know about the historical aspects of San Antonio?
There's so much to know, but I guess one of the important things is that this place has always been a place where people have gathered. It's naturally so because of our geography and where we're situated in the state of Texas. But because of that, it's also a place that's very rich in history. And we use this term a lot of times, the confluence of civilizations or the confluence of cultures, but it really is. I mean, the missions did what they were supposed to do. They established a city, a community, a city that's still vibrant over 300 years later. So, and one of the things that San Antonio does so well is that as new cultures come in, there's that continuously layering and innovation that happens. And so people come here and they fall in love with this place. And so that's, I think, and that's something that they immediately see is that pride that we all have in being from San Antonio.
Absolutely. And, I was trying to avoid the feedback. So you talk about being a city of gastronomy, and we're only one of 2 cities of gastronomy, UNESCO cities of gastronomy in the United States, Tucson, Arizona being the other one. Let's talk a little bit about what that means specifically to San Antonio. Can you give us a little bit of insight about that?
Well, we're the only city in the U.S. that has both designations. We have the World Heritage designation, and then we have the Gastronomy designation. And so it gives us the opportunity to really highlight all those things that are special. Visit San Antonio markets those things, and we're getting ready to have a huge IPW convention, and they're leveraging those designations. But we also have the ability to leverage those designations to make change in our community. What's great about both of them is they tie to sustainability. And so you want to preserve that culture, but yet we want growth, but we want it to be authentic. And with gastronomy, as I mentioned, we get to touch so many aspects of San Antonio through food, because everybody has to eat, and everybody's happy when you have food.
Absolutely. I remember when there was an uproar with Charles Barkley because he said we had gorditas. And I was like,
He's jealous.
He is. And his body, have you seen his shape? I'm like, bro, you let it go. So anyways, some of y'all are like, oh, yeah, if you live here long enough, you'll develop a disdain for Charles Barkley, just like the rest of us. Come on and sit down with us. So I have 2 more questions for you, and we got to make them quick because we got to get on to the next presenters. I wanted to make sure I asked everybody here, what's a movie that you may have seen in this drive-in theater, if you can think back?
My parents took me in my pajamas and put me in the back seat, and we saw Patton. I remember George C. Scott standing on the screen and immediately went to sleep.
Exactly, because that's where you get your best snaps, at the drive-in as a little child. And this is my last question for you. Where can people find you next, or what's on the horizon for you?
We are always busy. I'm at Mission Marquee. We've got movies happening. We've got farmers and artisan markets. If you want to learn more about World Heritage, we've got a World Heritage open house happening April 22nd with the Harlandale Cultural Arts Fair. So it will be crazy busy. But you can always go to the city website, type in World Heritage, and link to all our websites.
Thank you so much, Colleen. Y'all give her a hand one more time.